Jack here, JBF Music and Guitar Lessons. In this quick guitar tricks we're looking at forcing inspiration to get the creative process going for riff and songwriting. Being on lockdown is a prime time to schedule some time to spend in the proverbial woodshed, honing your craft. So you've got the time, you've set up your gear, maybe gone for some mood lighting. All tuned up, ready to write, and it's just not happening. The struggle is real, guys, let's face it. Or please let me know I'm not the only one in this situation by smashing the like button. Anyway, yeah, nonsense aside, these tips always help me out. I've got plenty more, so if you want them, let me know in the comments. First up, this is pretty much my go-to, a failsafe for getting the juices flowing: steal a riff. Not necessarily as extreme as say Nirvana or Oasis, although if you can build a successful career from it, then fair play. I'm going to split the section down into subcategories just to outline how this process can work for you. Oh, and before I forget, if you write anything using these tips, make sure to put a YouTube link down in the comments or hit me up on Instagram at JBFGuitar. Step 1. Steal a riff. I'm going with You Really Got Me by the Kinks. I did alarm riffs now on that whole song, fully tabbed including the solo recently. Check it out with the card up there. So I'm going to go for the main riff that goes between that F5 and the G5. Step 2. Change the rhythm. Okay, so You Really Got Me starts on an offbeat at the bar, it's the last 8th note. I'm not going to go too heavily into the music theory, don't worry, but basically if you count 1 add 2 add 3 add 4 add, we'd start on that very last thing, the add of 4, like this: 1 add 2 add 3 add 4 add 1 add 2 add 3 add 4 add 1 add 2 add 3 add 4 add. Right, just that. So really simple, let's just start on a different beat and displace it. So let's go with the first beat of the bar. So this is a bit difficult to hear it without drums or click, so let's hear it in context. First the original and then my new version, which will sound really similar but it'll kind of feel a bit different. Step 3. Change the speed. I feel like slowing this down a bit so it's a bit more hard rock, maybe something a bit like Black Sabbath or Deep Purple. So a little bit further from the source material yet again. Step 4. Change the structure. A lot of riffs adhere to very certain formats. The best example I can think of to outline this is Metallica's Enter Sandman. Now, when Kirk Hammett wrote this riff and presented it to the band, he just played it back to back and looped it like this. We would call this an A-B structure, this being the A part, and this being the B. However, when he heard this, Lars told him to play the first bit, or A section, 3 times, on the 4th time round play the B section, and voila! A legendary riff was born. Now, I don't really have a B section, it's all A with my current riff, so I'm going to make one up. I'm also going to go with this AAAB structure. If I don't like it, I'll just try a different one, but I reckon it's going to be alright. Yeah, that's alright. I mean, this could be much better than that. Well, obviously you could spend more time in it. I just don't want you to have to suffer through 50 minutes of me trying slight variations, and I'm happy enough with that to get on with. So yeah, after those 4 steps, we've changed the iconic You Really Got Me into... Now, we could get away with that, but it's still pretty similar, so what else can we do? Step 5. Change the melody. We already shifted the rhythmic part, so why not play about with the melodic content as well? The implied chords in the source tune are pretty much an F and a G, so why not try an F to a G minor? It should sound a little bit more modern this way. In order to do this, what I'm going to be doing is playing thirds. I'm going to use the major third, so we have an F to an A, and then a minor third going from a G to the B flat. And I'm just going to play those as dyads, those two notes together. Cool, so there I just played the B section as power chords. I think using thirds there will also work out quite well. My music theory brain is kicking in and it's telling me a C minor and a B flat major are in this key. So what I'm going to do is play the C and then put a flat third on top of that. And also with the B flat major, just put a regular third there. So that B section. And in context. Step 6. Change your gain or tone. So at this point I'm going to point out that you can do any of these steps in any order, but this particular order just flowed pretty well in this instance. You might want to start with changing your tone, then melody and speed or whatever. They're all just variables that can be tweaked with in any order. With that in mind, I'm getting a bit of a kind of new wave of British heavy metal vibe here, so more gain it is. I'm going to go with a different pickup combination, probably using a humbucking guitar and put some more drive on there. Oh, and if the genre or Iron Maiden style specifically is up your street, check out this deep dive on how to write like Iron Maiden with the card up there. Okay, so that's got us up and running. At this point I'm moving on to tip 2. Yep, that was all just the subsections for tip 1. Hopefully most of you have found that useful, so don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, and if you want more of this kind of content in your feed, hit subscribe and make sure to ring that notification bell. So finally moving on to tip number 2, which is thinking about different instruments. So I'm already starting to hear a rough drum beat in my mind over this, kind of like a doom, 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 doom. Yeah, extraordinary beatboxing skills there, but hopefully adequate enough to convey what I meant. Although I feel like I want a little bit of a chug as well to fill it out, so if I have another guitar doubling that basic movement, but gunning through the 16th notes on the G when the other part pauses, it should give me that kind of vibe. Yeah, so there I just played this B section with the same rhythm, but I used inverted power chords, which I think should beef up the riff and hopefully sound pretty cool. For more on chord voicings, check out that tutorial with the card out there. And I mean, this new guitar line, this could easily end up turning into another riff in its own right. For example, if we just play the A section, and then maybe play the B section as single notes, or something like that, maybe thirds. We're kind of starting to get something going on here. And I mean, sticking with this genre, I've kind of picked this new wave of British heavy metal thing that I've fallen into. What we could do is harmonise this in thirds with the other guitar part. So let's chuck them all together and see where we're at. At this point, I feel we're pretty far away from You Really Got Me, so I'm going to draw a line under it so that we can move on to some new ideas with tip number 3. Move shapes. Let's just take a C9. For more nice cards, check out the tutorial with the eye up there. But yeah, just take any chord shape and just randomly move it. Semitone. bit crunchy there. So I'm kind of digging it though. I think this would be a bit better if I miss out this high E, this open E. It's at the fourth fret. It's still pretty crunchy, but I think there's something there I'm kind of liking. And I'm also thinking, again, putting this fifth down on the low E string. Yeah, kind of digging that. I've got sort of a post-rock or maybe kind of Opeth type vibe going on. I get the feeling that keeping this simple and playing with the dynamics could be really quite effective. So heavy for the C9, and then soft picking for the sort of medium C sharp chord. Yeah, there's something there. It's maybe a bit more kind of grungy or Nirvana-ish now. I reckon I could milk it a bit though, with keeping on each chord for longer. Oh. Yeah, I mean, it's not the most amazing riff, but there's something there that I quite like about it. And I mean, you can use this moving trick on diatonic chords as well, so as chords from the same key. Say we went from the C9 up to a D9 sus4, or if we went up to the 7th fret, provided we adjust the 3rd, so we get a, rather than playing it here, we're keeping it diatonic, we'll play the 3rd there, we get an E kind of minor add 9. Okay, so slight tangent here. Let's apply one of the previous steps and think about another guitar part. So here essentially I'm doing a C to an E minor. So let's just voice this differently, and I'm going to go on my humbucker as well for just a kind of a different tonal quality. So easy thing to go, let's do power chords. It's got like a heavier vibe going on straight away. And with that space that I've left there where I kind of did the scratches on guitar 1, let's play some notes there. I'm going to keep it really simple and just see what comes out. Cool, and I'm feeling like a B section would work here, so I'm going to go A, A, B, A. So two of the ones I just did, and then a different thing. Let's maybe do, I don't know, a D to E minor? That could work, maybe. There, yeah, that would work a bit better. And then back to that first idea. Perhaps with a subtle variation on the notes I was playing. So let's just chuck that together and see what comes out. So it was a bit sloppy there, but the variation I went for the end, playing those 4 notes instead of. So again, this isn't amazing, but we have yet again something from nothing. Definitely potential to work with. Tip 4. I've done this for years, and I recently found out that Steve Vai does it as well. Except Vai being Vai, he's done it better because he's come up with a cool name, which I've promptly stolen. The Infinite Shelf. So this is all about documenting ideas. It might be on your phone, it might be in Guitar Pro, Sibelius, some other notation software, recording it to tape in your DAW on your computer, on a camera, a webcam, anything, loads of different ways to do it. Any ideas you have that speak to you in some way, even if you know it's not finished or the idea is not fully polished, but it's got some kind of thing that just makes you react to it, then document it. Now, this is probably a bit of a learning process. I tend to do videos so I can record like finger positions, and I'll tend to open the video by saying the type of riff, like what the style is, or maybe a topic or whatever idea it seemed reflective of. The thing to remember is that this is just for you. So I might say it's that octave thing that you like to do, and when I go back to watch the video, I'll know what my past self was talking about, with little need for much more explanation. Or I might think that a section needs a bit more syncopation, and I'll say, rough idea for a bridge, maybe needs syncopation or something, yeah. And I'll say these sorts of things either before or after playing. This library of ideas will take a while to create, but it means you can always go back to it and build upon pre-existing ideas rather than having to start from scratch every single time you want to write. However you organise this stuff, again, is entirely up to you, but just make sure it's a system that you like and you understand. For example, I tend to split things into folders of years and then subfolders of months, and I'll name the files based on the ideas used in the song or perhaps a genre. So, or something relevant as well. So, for example, the first thing we looked at, that might be like Kink's idea, Kink's inspired a new wave of British heavy metal. So I'd probably just put the NOWBHM so I don't have to spell out all the words. I would call it like Death of an Icon. I think I'd said something like we'd changed an iconic riff. And a name like that gives me a distinct vibe, the Death of an Icon. That's kind of a song title, or at least a working title that I could tap into for writing more parts. Writing lyrics, or even just handing it off to someone else so they've got a kind of clearer idea of what the end goal is, which can be really handy if you're passing the ideas on to bandmates or other collaborators, particularly if you're not doing it face to face. So some other ideas might be something like dynamic, grungy, stock Opeth, that kind of thing I came up with this second example there. And maybe post-rock ninths idea when I was doing these kind of slidey bits there, because that's kind of what that sounds like to me. The whole idea was there to create something from nothing, so maybe I jot that down in the file name as well, something from nothing. Again, it's a decent theme to write to. Tip number 5 is the most important tip. So much so that I've put my guitar down. And as guitarists, we know how difficult a thing that is to do. So if there's one thing that you're going to take away from this video, for the few of you who have stuck around, here it is. Don't judge or critique what you're doing. Main reason you'll get a creative block is likely from second guessing or thinking it's not good enough. And it might not be. Most of the time we'll write stuff that's okay, sometimes bad, sometimes good or great. Everything probably isn't going to be some amazing masterpiece. But everything does have its own vibe. Just let whatever ideas are manifesting come out. You might end up writing an indie tune by mistake or some weird electro prog epic that you never want to listen to again. I'm guilty of having done both these things by mistake. So for me, this is just part of the process. Certain songs and ideas want to come out. Just let them do their thing. Follow the idea, and if you're not too happy with it, pop it on the infinite shelf. You might come back to it with a fresh mind and fix it. Or there might be a small idea, maybe a chord progression, or just a rhythm that you liked. Remember that stealing a riff thing from the start? Yeah, there's absolutely nothing stopping you from revisiting your old riffs and doing exactly the same thing to your own material. So next time you pick up the old 6-string to write and get that block, just noodle. Don't judge the ideas, just let them come out. And if one piques your interest, follow it down the rabbit hole. Failing that, just steal someone else's riff and butcher it beyond all recognition. Like I'd said before, between all of these tips I can always get something going. It might not be the most exciting thing, it might not be the most stimulating thing, but I never have that annoying creative block. But yeah, let me know what your guys' tips are down in the comments. It'd be really great to find out some new ones. Those were my favourite methods for forcing inspiration, or at least getting the creative juices going. This has been Quick Guitar Tricks, that's the playlist there. Check out this video for some more songwriting ideas. Yeah, if you've enjoyed this and want to support the channel, hit subscribe. Give this video a like, that does seem to really help out an awful lot. Share it and leave me a comment and enable notifications by ringing that little bell on the side if you feel so inclined. Cheers guys.